Welcome back to the LCS and the Bud Light breakdown as Flyquest have taken the series 3-2 fashion over Team Liquid. They fought back after that fourth game that got ripped away from them right at the end. They kept it together mentally, and they drove it home in a dominant fifth game.
So composed out of them. We thought that would have been a tilter. A lot of teams would have definitely tilted off of losing that last game, but what can you say as a holistic view for Flyquest? 2 finals in the same year from where they started in 2019 is just unbelievable.
Every single game, it feels like everyone is doing something so well. It's so hard to give them player of the games. It's so hard to give them player of the series because everyone steps up at different points. You have Ignar making huge plays with the Thresh landing hooks to set up picks, especially in the early game. Mid-game team fighting comes around. Solo's making plays. PoE's making plays. Turtle's sniping people out. You know, like everyone's doing such incredible plays over the course of the series. It's so hard to isolate a single player as why they're so good. Whereas other teams, you can usually be like, oh, that's the best player easily. I don't think you can say that at all about Flyquest.
Yeah, and I think they also did a good job of kind of like diversifying their compositions at least. Like this series was such a slow scaler. I was so surprised to see Flyquest even draft a team comp like this where it's full pick with the Jhin and the Syndra, and their goal is really like, you know, we want to get 1 kill and then kind of snowball off of that. And this game, or this series was just so long, and they always were decided by team fights. So for them to say like, we can play more aggressive than Team Liquid, we've been doing it all year, so we're going to pick a comp that needs to be fighting and can excel at these mid-game team fights and take the gold lead from there, I thought was pretty impressive as well.
Love to see a team call a shot like that and then actually follow up on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Little fun fact for somebody that, as a recent Mordekaiser main, you cannot flash if you are inside the Death Realm and to take a Barred Portal.
I mean,
you
can
be
flash,
a mean to
you're not
know
going to go
that.
where much.
Today I learned.
Yeah,
today I learned.
Yeah, and I think the point about mental resiliency is huge, too. I think they've really shown over the course of this playoff run that they are really, really good about staying in the series. The obviously heartbreaking game last time, but don't forget they also had that monstrous pause game against C9, which they recovered from. Like, this team is always showing that, you know, no matter how bad it's going to get, they're never going to be taken out of a series.
You know what's crazy, too, about Flyquest? With this run and with how many games they played in the first playoffs in spring, they have by far the most games played out of any team in the year.
That's true.
Like, it's not even close. They have
They're
more
they're officially the most practiced team in the LCS. No wonder they're the best.
There we go. Got to put in the reps.
I mean, it sets up for a very interesting remainder to the playoffs because, again, Crumbs, I'll point out that you were the one who called this series in favor of Flyquest, but it indicates that these top 3 teams between Flyquest, Team Liquid, and TSM, it's all going to be very close. This series could have easily gone the other way. Only one game did decide it. It wasn't like it was a quick 3-0. Mark?
And I think what's really exciting, too, is it's different playstyles a lot for these teams. Like the fact that TSM is red side, no Caitlyn, you know, carries top that they're playing compared to Flyquest. You know, like, I'm really excited to see heading into next weekend, TL versus TSM, and see if anything will change in the drafts because of that.
TSM, I think, is a real contender, though. I do not want to put TSM as they might be in third place here because I felt like Flyquest and TL were close because of a similar playstyle, but had the edge over Flyquest. TSM is coming into this with a very different way of approaching the game. Very top-centric, carries in the jungle as well, weak bot side, not a lot of playmaking from the bot lane, just trying to survive. So that kind of difference in playstyle is cool to see if it can get to finals or even in semis against Team Liquid to show, all right, which of these 2 ways of playing the game comes out on top when they clash.
Yeah, talking about different styles, I think something that we kind of glossed over a bit was like Team Liquid's draft changed up so dramatically in this series. Like, I'm definitely expecting to see, you know, Azir control mages every single game from them, and they pulled out the Akali and this like Shin, Hecarim dive comp. I don't really remember them ever playing dive comp or this being their identity. So them branching out in a playoffs game where they do have a loss prevention basically built into their winners bracket, I think is a pretty good idea because going into international, they don't want to play the same style no matter what. They want to be able to be flexible. So I really appreciated that. And we got to see the Jensen Zillion as well, which honestly wasn't super awe-inspiring this time. But I do like the direction they're taking. They're doing the Kalista Thresh, hard aggressive bot lane. They're doing the Kog'Maw poke mid, sometimes the Zillion. They have a lot more color that they showed this split.
Yeah, not necessarily awe-inspiring, but still did get that win, and his record on that champion is quite pretty. I think 11-1 now across the LCS, which is just disgusting. But I love that call-out. Perhaps some experimentation because these teams each did have a series to give, in a sense, before another opportunity to run back. This might be a rematch for finals, and I would love it. But, of course, TL will have to get through TSM first. We are going to hand it over to Tigris, though, who's got an interview with Wild Turtle in our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you so much, Dash. Happy to hear from Flyquest Wild Turtle after this victory, going into the grand finals of it all. But first things first, I got to address something with you because in past interviews from both sides, both teams thought that this was going to be a sweep in their favor, but we had a 3-2 series on our hands. Yeah, did your confidence ever waver leading up to the series or perhaps during it?
No, I thought we could have won all the games. Like, even the games we lost, it's pretty close, so.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of how close it was in the games that were lost, Game 4 was a pretty tough ending, some tactical play to dismantle what was looking like a Flyquest game. How did you handle transitioning in that aspect, coming off of that Game 4 to get yourself ready for Game 5?
Honestly, I think all of us were pretty tilted after we lost in that fashion. Yeah, tactical kind of styled on us with the Zillion. And then after that, I think everyone just took a break. I think I was pretty mad too, but I was just like, drinking water, washing my face, chilling, coming back.
It's very hard against a team like Team Liquid to find those moments to chill, relax, and come back because they're very prone to punishing any mistakes that are put out on the table. Considering that Flyquest's approach to this entire series, it felt like you were all making the proactive plays and trying to control the action. How much pressure does that put on you when trying to be proactive, knowing that Team Liquid is there to punish anything that goes wrong?
I mean, we don't really mind too much. You got to make plays to win the game. It's League of Legends,
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'm talking to Wild Turtle here, right? The man that was flashing forward for some plays that worked out really well for Flyquest in this scenario. And when it comes to how Flyquest has been performing recently, a lot have said that you've kind of turned it up ever since your return back into the roster. Do you think anything has kind of clicked into place for Flyquest, or is this simply a reward for all of the hard work throughout the year?
I mean, we were finalists in spring, so I don't think it's that much of a surprise, I guess, to be here again. I think we just had to put in the work we put in for spring and try to run it back, and we kind of ran it back, so we're in the finals again.
Well, and you're the only team to be returning to the finals, being that Cloud9 have been eliminated, meaning that Flyquest could potentially be the most consistent team in the LCS for 2020 with this return appearance. What does that mean to you and the organization to prove that this isn't just a fluke for Flyquest? It's something that you have been achieving consistently.
Sequest, we're just out here, changing the environment, tree quest, doing it up, stuff like that.
Sequest, Tree Quest, all the same from Flyquest, right?
Yeah, all the same. Yeah.
Thanks for stopping on by after that series.
Thank you. Peace.
There's no clipping the wings of Flyquest in this scenario as they soar themselves into the grand finals, the first ones to do here in the LCS. Let's go ahead and continue to break this down in the Bud Light Breakdown.
Peace. Turtle's on his way to the finals. He's out of that interview.
He's like, let me out. I got to go celebrate.
It was a hard-fought best of 5. Great to hear from him. I love the call out from Tigris, right? Back-to-back finals for this team. It does speak to the consistency of an organization that largely was never dominated the conversation around top team, right? They were always maybe right on the outside edge, Crumbs.
I actually just wanted to add the numbers of games that they've played that have allowed them to become that top team because they were really important in spring for Solo to be acclimated to the team. 18 regular season games, both splits, everybody does that, but 19 games in the first playoff, so more than the regular season. And now they've already played 14 this summer. So if they go to a best of 5, they would have played more playoff games than regular season this year.
Yeah, 33 plus 36, so 69 games so far is what they've played.
I didn't add them up. I haven't.
Damn, I did. Quick maths.
Not that good.
So 69 games what they played so far. They've got one more best of 5 ahead of them. Yeah, I wouldn't trust me either on that math, to be honest. I didn't double check it, but I think that's about right. Anyway.
Yeah, 69. Sure, let's go with it.
Anyway, as our teams continue to battle to the top, MasterCard is collaborating with the LCS once again to award lucky fans with some personalized experiences and some pretty cool merch. One winner will get to learn League with free from the comfort of their own homes, and 5 other participants will squad up with me for a Q&A session. Any player from the United States and Canada, except our friends in Quebec, can enter just by using your MasterCard in the League client to automatically be submitted to the raffle for our awesome prizes. Now, this contest goes until August 30th, which is today. So it's your last chance. Do not miss out if you want to have a chat. You guys got any questions for me? Any quick Q&A questions?
No.
I already have ample amount of time to talk to you over the course of the week. I don't need
That's
more.
true, Mark. What was your question, Krubs? Was it even a relevant question?
What if we win? Actually, no, it wasn't. You did, yeah.
What if you win? Did you save your MasterCard in the League client?
I do have a MasterCard.
Then you're not going to win if you haven't done it, Crumbs. So, all right, when we get off the air today, you go do that.
It is. It's connected. What else do I need to do, Dash?
Then you very well might win. No, there you go. That's all you needed to do, my friend.
What if I want to go to Quebec and compete from there?
Well, then you cannot. There it is. There. Well, I'm glad we've worked our way all the way back through the rules, Crumbs. You cannot enter from Quebec. Now, to net his team an important victory, Power of Evil, he stepped up in a big way today, earning his team player of the series.
Yeah, huge performance out of PoE, spamming the Azir, putting fear into Team Liquid with it. He had a number of huge engages as well. It was not just the sit back and poke at people Azir. Not afraid to get in there and shuffle and send people to their doom. And then, some adaptation over the course of the series, like Crumbs was saying, that they were willing to change it up, go for pick style comp and stuff like that. He was absolutely incredible. But like we said, all of Flyquest, they're such a whole, complete team that everyone's playing well.
Yeah, it's very difficult to nail down someone in Flyquest because they are just such a good, cohesive team when they actually start grouping up. But Power of Evil playing the Azir against Jensen, who I definitely value Jensen's laning phase over Power of Evil, but the fact that PoE was able to pick the Azir blind in a lot of these matches as a kind of a takeaway from Jensen, and the fact that it's just a power pick in the meta, and be able to perform well in lane. And then, like Mark said, so many sand scoops, so many engages that really turned the tides of the matches. Like, that really made him stand out as a player to me.
And I do want to give a special shout out to Ignar.
Yeah.
He won all 3 games on Thresh, which, I mean, when playoffs rolls around, this is what always happens. People drift back to playmaking champions, and Thresh is the king of supports.
And he was up against Core JJ, MVP candidate. He actually was not outperformed at all by someone that a lot of people are identifying as the favorite for their MVP, and who was already a former MVP.
Exactly. One playmaker to another. It should be noted, as you mentioned, Crumbs, that vote was a 3-2 split, so just edged out towards Power of Evil. But this brings me back to the point you made earlier, Mark, about how it's almost impossible, game after game, when we watch Flyquest play, to actually target an individual as the reason for their success.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at some of those engages by solo, whether it's on the set or the Ornn, even the Mordekaiser being incredible. Santorin's obviously a beast. We've been hyping him so much all year long. Still had great games and setting up his team for success. Turtle himself as well, having a wide range of champions, busting out the Caitlyn, playing super well on that, drawing bans out of Team Liquid eventually. It was a really impressive series.
He got perma-banned on Senna.
That too.
There you have it. Just like that, we've arrived at our final week of the summer split. Let's take a look at the bracket and see what those 2 remaining matchups are. We got Team Liquid up against TSM next week on Saturday. Winner of that match will go up against Flyquest in our final. So it could be a rematch of this very same series, or we get a new look with TSM fighting their way through the losers bracket, having lost the very first series of their postseason. What a run that would be.
Yeah, and a grudge match against Team Liquid, Doublelift. What's leaving TSM? You had Tactical coming in. You had coaching staff changes, all because of this disastrous spring split. And now here they both are, competing for a chance to get into the finals. And the loser will get kicked into the play-in stage of Worlds when that takes place. So they are still fighting for something in that match. It's not just trying to get into finals.
I love it. I love the new format. I love the excitement that comes along with it and all the stakes that are brought along as well. Congratulations to Flyquest on your victory today. 3-2 fashion was beautiful and exciting to watch. That's going to do it for us here, though. Now, on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week for the conclusion of our summer split. Good night.